What's going on, everybody? I hope you're doing all right. Let me turn this fucking thing down over here. Glad to see everybody. If you can do me a favor, just hit number 1 to let me know that you can hear me talking. Once I see ones, I'll start saying hello to everybody. And then I got a video I want to play. It's not a funny one. It's a serious one, but a good one nonetheless. So once I see a number 1, I'll go back to the top of the chat. All right, good. I'm going to go to the top of the chat, start saying hello to everybody before I get into something that I want to discuss. And then the format for tonight is we're going to go till about 9:30-ish. But for the first hour, we're going to talk organized crime. I don't really have a format coming in tonight. And then we'll just open the floor to whatever you guys want to talk about. Pete the Killer, how you doing? Mickey Griggs, how are you? Jesse Roth, how's it going? Donnie and the Smiths, Haunted Ghost Tube. Let's see who else we got in here. What's up, Frankie C? Tell your pops I said hello. West Texas burrito. I still can't eat burritos, my friend. Maybe a burrito from West Texas will be better for me. Who knows? There she is. Miss Can't Be Wrong. John, how you doing, buddy? Let's see. Grandvino is in the house. Angel Gotti was in the house. Now she's out of the house. But she's gonna have to come back. I'm gonna wait till she comes back till I play something. Tess, how are you doing? Rick the Tank, what's real? What's shaking? Let's see here. I'm gonna try to go through. There's my buddy Chardonnay. How are you? Svenguli needs a beer. I wonder who that could be. Or Svengali, not Svenguli. Pounding the you-know-what is here. Dirtiest name ever. Brian, how are you? Donald Pittman with Shaken Buddy. Silo Wren. Edward Everett. Jeff, how are you? Cat Litter TV. Gianni, how's it going? Mickey Griggs, I said hello to you. We can get rid of this turd. He's not worth my time. Chris, hello, how are you? Let's see. Common Sense, what's up, buddy? Kelly, how are you? Uh-oh, there's trouble. There's trouble right there. Trouble with a capital D. Not a T, a D. Seymour Scagnetti, how are you? All right, scrolling down. Rayism, how are you? All right, so I see all the ones. I'm going to continue to go down here for a minute. Jason, how are you? Kings, New York, how are you? Almost done, guys. Just bear with me here. Tommy Stiggs, what's up, buddy? Tim, how are you? Sound like I'm getting hammered. No, I'm just tired. I don't sleep. Joey, how are you? If you guys had any clue. Carlos, there's my buddy, the Wrench Master. Andrew, how are you? Let's see. I think we've just about got everybody. Javi C, how are you? Nelson, how are you? Bellevue is not a bad place. Definitely not. Johnny the Greek, how are you? Joy, how are you, Joy? I hope you're doing well. Andrew says he hopes everybody has a wonderful day. All right, let's see. Hello, Miss Angel Gotti, when you come back in the house. All right, I'm going to keep going down. Joe Piney, how are you? Mike, what's up? I think I've got everybody. I'm scrolling down. All right, I think, there's trouble there too. Yeah, that boxing list, Dan, was horrible. Couldn't believe it. I don't even want to go into the list because that'll get me started on a whole entire rant. Let's see. All right, I think that's it. I'm going to wait for Angel to get in the chat before I start my whatever it is. So I hope everybody's doing all right. So for those that are members of my paid subscription, I got some bad news for you. I'm not doing a show this Friday. I am taking this Friday off. But for those people who won the prizes from a couple of, a week ago, I will be sending you something, but it'll be part 1 and part 2 of the Lucchese's, because unfortunately I sent you part 3. So I want to make sure I send you guys the first 2 parts to that. And no, it won't count against your month. But from everybody else, I'm taking this Friday off. I'm probably going to go out of town. So I just, I need a weekend off. I just need a weekend off. And so that's pretty much what we're going to do. Thank you, Dee, for posting that. So we will not be doing a show this Friday, but we will be coming back next Friday. And that's why I'm doing this tonight. I was not even going to do this, but I decided to do this in lieu of a show on Friday. So just going to take this Friday off and then we'll come back. Okay. So we've got her in the house. All right. So let's see. There's one thing I want to I want to sort of interject myself with all of you. For those of you that know mob history, first of all, we know that the meeting in 1957 that took place in upstate New York got raided by the cops. I could not believe that I heard another. Let me do my air quotes here. A mob expert, self-proclaimed, said that Lucky Luciano ratted them all out. I would love to know where he got that information from. It's not about having an opinion. You're entitled to have your own opinion. But when there is nothing to suggest that that's even remotely the truth, I get lost in some of that. I don't understand what some of these people are talking about. I heard another podcaster say that the patriarchas don't exist anymore, that Philadelphia doesn't have a mob family anymore. Like, these people don't know what they're talking about, and you have to be very careful about what you listen to. It's very apparent to me that people that are engaging these other podcasts, which is a great thing, I encourage everybody to do it. I always say you guys are the smartest ones in the room. And you need to go to those people. And when they say things that are inaccurate like that, you need to correct them, because unless you correct them, they're going to keep saying nonsense that doesn't make any sense. Now, if it's something about an opinion, I can't really, argue with somebody about an opinion. But when historical facts tend to back up that your opinion doesn't even make sense, then I kind of got to wonder, like, what planet that you're living under or on, for that matter. Oh, common sense, Jeff Nadeau. Well, Jeff Nadeau said, and I don't want to get into a whole thing because I promised myself it wasn't, but Jeff Nadeau said that Lucky Luciano ratted out the entire commission. Okay, that's number one. Black Handprint Mafia said the patriarchas didn't exist and the Philadelphia Mafia was no longer a family. These are people that I continue to hear other people say are great at what they do. But when I hear things like this, and I'm not knocking anybody, but when I hear things like this, I say to myself, are these people even doing any research at all? Because it's just not true. It's just not true. And so, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's up to everybody can have an opinion. Everybody gets stuff wrong. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I get stuff wrong too, and I admit it. But I think when you say things that are so outlandish and it's not backed up by anything at all, and you just kind of invent it to create sort of an atmosphere of drama or whatever, then it just doesn't serve yourself any justice. I don't know why somebody would say that the patriarchs are no longer around. I don't know why somebody would say Philadelphia is no longer a family. Like, that's just not true. That's just not true. And just hello, 20 guys got indicted like a year and a half ago. So that ought to prove to you that that's not exactly accurate. So I don't know why people say that, but that's them. And, I'm me. Well, that's the common sense there. If we talked off of this format or platform, I could tell you some things that would blow your mind, but they are still there. Are they what they used to be? Absolutely not. I don't think anybody's going to tell you any different. When you just out and out say that they're defunct and not really a family anymore, like, you don't know what you're talking about. And so that's, to me, is a little strange. So there is one thing I want, and listen, teach your own. If you guys like listening to other content creators, I have no problem with that. I encourage it. I think everybody should, listen to different things and find out what they like best. I'm not for everybody. I can be a prick. I admit that. But when I'm right, I'm right. And when I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. A lot of other people can't do that. And that's just the truth. And a couple people attacked me for saying what I said about for Black Handprint Mafia. But if you're making that simple of a mistake, there's a problem. And I'm not the justice police and I'm not the get it right or else guy. I'm just somebody who is, if you're going to say you're an expert and you don't know the bare minimum, then I don't know what to tell you. Hey, Tom, how are you doing, buddy? All right. So there's something else I want to bring up. So relevance is something that you set for yourself, not the name of somebody, and especially not somebody you're ever going to know. Because there's a lot of people, and I'm not getting into a thing. This is going to be very quick. We're moving on. I get a little tired of people hoarding on other people's names. They can't argue one-on-one. They can't debate one-on-one. Instead, anytime they're encroached, they have to bring 6 people with them. Okay. If you have to validate yourself by saying you're friends with somebody, then I don't know what to say for you. If your relevance is only because you can say you're friends with somebody, then you're not relevant. I say all the time on my podcast, and I'll say it here again. Your reputation has to precede you. If your reputation is based on somebody else, then you're a clown and a nobody. And there's a whole lot of nobodies on YouTube that think there's something, and that's just the reality of it. And so I wanted to just say this, and then I'm going to play a video, and I want everybody to pay attention to this video. It's very, very important to me. The second thing that I just wanted to say before I go to the video is that people do not know how to disassociate a name with a face or a tumultuous past. Okay. Thanks, John. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. Angel Gotti is Angel Gotti, but Angel Gotti is also Angel. And a lot of people are sort of lopping on top of her now because of her last name. And I think that that's unfair. Uh, if you cannot disassociate who her father was, good, bad, or indifferent, through the media and whatever else the case may be, then I feel bad for you. And I've thought about this all day, and it's just something that bothers me because it's like, you have to get to know somebody. First of all, half of these people that call Angel a friend don't even know her. Okay, that's just reality. They've never sat across from her, never had cake with her, never laughed in front of her. It's on YouTube. And so everybody fighting over these false friendships and this jockeying, it's nonsense to me because I know her. There's a difference. And I think people continuously keep trying to bring her involved in their fights. Like, leave it alone. Fight with the people you're angry at, right? And just leave her out of it. Everybody has to say, well, Angel this or Angel that. Like, just let it go. Argue with people on your own laurels. You know what I mean? Don't drag her into it or anybody else into it. She has every right to defend her family, and that's the bottom line. So, here's what I want, just to make sure that everybody is paying attention. I am going to start the video here in a second. Can you guys press 1 if you can still hear me and everything's still going good? All right, I'll wait till I see ones. For some reason, my chat, guys, is going real slow. Real slow. The YouTube mob genre is extremely trending right now. A lot of people should do shows on something else. I don't watch any of it. Yeah, no, I know how you feel. I know how you feel. Um, Well, yes, you do get yourself into some pickles, young lady. You definitely do. But I'm going to start the video, and whatever you guys think of it, you guys will think of it. You ready? Pay attention because there's going to be some words you got to read, okay? And so there you have it. And that's my point. A lot of mob genre people just see a title and they see the media bullshit, but they don't see the man behind the curtain. And that's the whole point. I think people forget that. And that's what's important. That's what's important. I think people forget that Angel, despite it all, is a daughter of someone. She had to share her father with millions. That's not easy. That's not easy. So all that being said, I don't know if you guys could read all the words or whatever, and people are going to say, well, look at him, he's propping them up again, and it's not that. It's just the point of, I don't think many people understand what it's like to share your father with people. I personally, I think it's kind of me. She said it before, like seeing her father's tattoo on people's skin. That's got to be so weird. So weird. I tell you what, we'll do it one more time. Let's do it one more time, guys. Just that way, if you didn't get to read it, we'll just do it one more time. All right. And so the last thing I'm going to say about that is a bit of truth. Is nobody knows, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, what his last thoughts were of. And I don't think anybody will ever know. And so people can say whatever they want. But at the end of the day, nobody knows what his last thoughts were. But I guarantee it was of his kids. Guarantee you that. Anyway, I just get past all of that. Well, yeah, Jesse, you're right. People do forget that people are human at the end of the day. It's very easy to, say people are evil and mean and stuff like that. But you just don't know. You just don't know. And I can tell you this much. I could walk up and down a street where I live on the Lower East Side, and I can mention a rat's name and say, you ever heard of this guy? And they'll go, no. I can say, you ever heard of John Gotti? And they're going to go, yeah. So there you go. That should tell you who's relevant and who isn't. Anyway, so I want to get pound. See, I saw pounding and I was like, well, see you pounding. Hey, what's up, cousin Paulie? How are you? Anyway, so we're going to open up the forum a little bit. Absolutely, he would have been. listen, he I could tell you what, Angel is her father in many ways. I could tell you that for a certifiable fact, you know, good, bad, and indifferent. That really hit home, very profound. Angel, you have a very, very big heart and a beautiful family. Don't ever change. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Angel says, thank you, everyone, as she's cursing my name under her breath. Please, guys, also support Justice for Alan Kaiser. It's very important. I don't want to regurgitate the details of what happened to him, but it was a tragedy, and anything you can do to support Joy, please do. Let's see what else we got over here, just really quick. Please take a second and visit Angel Gotti's page, Carlos and Big Lou, the No Fly Zone, the Smiths Ghost Tube, and Fatball Sicilian if you get a chance. If you are a troll and you have entered the room, welcome, thank you, fuck you, bye. That is just the way that we are going to do things. Also, if you want to get accurate, up-to-date information on organized crime, which covers indictments, you're interested in shirts, artwork, and yes, Dana and the Smiths, Donnie and the Smiths, I got your email. Just give me a day to catch up with some stuff. You can head over to mtrchronicles.com, cover all facets of organized crime better than anybody else. That's the truth. Let's see what else. This is where you can get our paid podcast format, mobtalkradioshow.supercast.com. And if you guys would do me a solid, just hit the like, the dislike, or the subscribe button and tap that little notification bell. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't control it. So what are you going to do? All right. I'm going to catch up with the chat. Let's see if we got some mob stuff going on. You never have to thank me. I told you before. The reality is, I don't like it when people thank me anyway, because thank you is like when somebody does something they didn't have to do. And you know how we roll. Do anything for you. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. Let's see. Uh-oh. Look at Carlos not playing around tonight. Hit the like and subscribe button, or else it's this. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree, Mickey. Jesse Roth. Jeff's podcast is really great if you okay. I mean, it's good. It could be better, but it's good. I'm not an award-winning podcast for no reason. I don't think there's anybody else that can tell you they're an award-winning podcast. And I've posted photos of me getting awards, so it's not like I'm inventing that. Let's let other people say that they've got awards. Chris Gorky, $5. Awesome video. Keep up the good work. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I got your calls, but listen, I talked to you a little bit off social media. I got some stuff going on, so I'm just kind of keeping to myself as much as I can. Thank you, my chat friends, for sharing justice for Alan Kaiser. No, absolutely. Absolutely. We should do shirts, Joy. You know what, Joy? You know what I'm going to do? Because I got a t-shirt press here and I got all this stuff. I'm going to make a pray for justice for Alan Kaiser shirt. I think that would be really cool. So I'll start working on that next week, Joy, and then I'll reach out to you and send you a bunch of them if that's cool with you. Angel Gotti, it's been a pleasure to get to know you through your show and your channel. You are a strong, honest, and humble woman. Funny, too. Thanks for your time and content, ma'am. I bet more Americans know the name John Gotti than our vice president. I'm going to say Kamala Harris. May be true. May be true. All right. So we have 140 in the chat, which is more than I thought I would get tonight. So I'm happy by that. We can talk organized crime. We can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. I'm not going to listen. This is an organized crime channel. So this is what I like to talk about, but sometimes it can get a little deep. So if you guys want to talk about anything, we can talk about anything except for politics and religion. I don't get involved in either one of those. It's an awesome podcast, just like the old days when we sit around the old radio. Well, Donnie, I got something exciting coming for you. Do you guys remember the old time? Well, some of us are in our 40s. So no, this didn't happen when we were kids, but there were old time radio serials when our grandparents were kids, where it was you listen to actors and actresses walk you through a scene. I can tell you for a certifiable fact, I will be doing something like that. And it's going to be an old school throwback to like the 1930s, where it's like a murder mystery on radio, but it's going to be on podcast. It's going to be really cool. I can't wait to do that. That is in the planning stages. But of course, because it's Jeff Canorsi, it's going to be a little dirty. I'm just telling you. Uh, you know, that's just the way it's going to be. What's real? $5 from Canada. Thank you very much, my friend. And by the way, I love your photo. That is my favorite photo with John Gotti. I told Angel the other day, said, my God, that fucking tie. But yeah, we are going to do an old time radio thing on the podcast. It's going to be it's going to be very interesting. I don't have to answer that question. I'm not. Okay, we'll put it this way. It was the company that my podcast is on, and out of 25,000 podcasts, I came in second. And these were people that have been doing this for years. So there you go. And it was based on numbers and downloads and popularity. So there you go. Yeah, I'm going to figure out a nice design. That'll be cool. MTR, you need me to take care of anything for you? No, I think you're doing your job. Let's see. I can, but I can't. I don't talk about current stuff unless I have like an angle for it. I just try to stay away from current stuff. And it's not, it's not because I don't know it. It's just because out of respect for people I know, I just don't do it. Yeah, they were like old radio serials. And a friend of mine came to me and says, we should do an old radio serial. That would be a lot of fun. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you want to do it, I said, but we got to make it a little funny because I can't just be like, and she walked in, I just can't do the whole, and she walked in darkness and I can't do that kind of stuff. It's got to be like dick and fart jokes and stuff like that. I want to make people laugh. That's the whole point. I haven't seen my 40s in a while. Well, I could say I haven't seen things in a while, but then that would be a weight joke and I'm not that fat. And then that would lead people to speculate I'm talking about something I shouldn't be talking about. That's a shirt worth wearing. I'll wear a victim shirt before. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Potatoes and eggs. That is really funny that's what you ate because that's what I ate before I came on. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. Let's see. What's the most ridiculous nickname that you heard a mob guy have passed? Ridiculous one? I think Tony Meatballs is kind of ridiculous. Oh God, there was a guy in Providence they called Grenade Arm for obvious reasons. He only had one arm because when he went to throw a grenade under a car, he forgot he threw the pin and not the grenade. So you can only imagine. Have you done any organized crime content in southern states other than Florida? Yep, absolutely. I've talked, really not, to be honest with you, I haven't to any large extent, but there's more organized crime in southern states than you probably believe or wouldn't believe. In fact, if you were on my podcast format, and I'll throw the link really quick up, there is a whole entire group of Sicilian guys that were in Virginia Beach that were very well organized and did some serious stuff. So yeah, that was typically down that way was the Giordano's, the Aragonas, the Catones, the Garcias. There were some heavyweights down there. Drugs was always the big thing down there, but yep, absolutely. All right. Yo, Paco taco to yourself. I don't know why that's hard to say. Yo, Paco taco. Yo, Paco taco. All right. What computer mic setup are you working with the podcast? I am using an iMac. I am using a Shure SM7B, and I am using what's called a Rodecaster Pro mixer. That is what I'm using. All entailed, probably like $5,000 of this stuff. Easy. I got the mic at a really good. I think the mic was like $600. The computer was like $3,000, and the Rodecaster Pro was $1,500 when it came out. Now you can get them for about $9 to $1,200. It's fantastic. I mean, it's great because I can pack everything into a box, and I can go to Angel's house and I can interview her cat or her barking dogs who never stop barking. My God, I call her today and we're talking about whatever. And it just the fucking dog, she blames it on her daughter Victoria's dogs, but I think that's the easy thing to do. But those dogs are like, "Burp, burp, burp, burp." I mean, they just wouldn't stop. They got to be Yorkshire Terriers or something like that, because only small yappy dogs do that nonsense. I swear to God. I'm sure they're nice dogs. All right, let's see. I got to move this because I can't see the screen. Let's see. It looks like everybody's just kind of talking in the chat a little bit. All right. Let's see. I'm not going to talk about Lee Cole. Anybody that is trying to goad me into talking about Lee Cole, I'm not going to talk about Lee Cole. Let's just move on, please. I don't care what Lee Cole. Listen, whatever is whatever. I'm not going to come on my platform, and I'm not going to highlight anybody that's talking about any other content creator, and I'm not going to address stuff that is just not worth my attention. That's it. You guys may like the arguing and the screaming, but I'm not going to do that. And if you guys are looking for that, there's a bunch of different content channels you can go to. And I really don't care. A lot of people say things out of anger and frustration, and it's all a part of the game. I'm guilty of it myself sometimes, but I'm just not going to focus myself on energy that is absolutely pointless. It's not. What okay, I'm right, he's right. What at the end of the day, who gives a shit? Because people that like me will believe me, people that like him will believe him. And like, what does that do for either one of us? It does nothing. So it's listen, it is what it is. I just don't even want to address it because it's just in the grand scheme of everything in life, how important is it? You know, that's all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was. There were a lot of guys with weird names. My cousin's nickname was Butchie. Butchie was the guy you went and saw when you wanted a car with new ID with a new identification stamp, stolen hot like the hot suit store. It's a hot car store. Absolutely. Providence is one of the most corrupt states in existence. Oh, you would go live during the Philly Brooklyn game, the vodka shots. You, my. All right, you would go live during the Philly Brooklyn game. This vodka shot is for you, fucker. May your week be filled with blessings, dickhead. Thank you very much, Justin, you prick. Why don't you go fuck yourself? How about that? Go find another channel. Goodbye. Oh, you guys already blocked him. Jeff, when you were in Johnny Light's live-in boyfriend, did you get a discount off rent? No, but when I fucked your mother and your grandmother, I did. How do you like them apples? Please block people like that. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, these are all people that hang out in Joe Bates' channel, so it doesn't shock me. But wrenches, seriously, just get rid of them. Like they even say anything negative, just throw them out. Just throw them out. It's not worth it. They wouldn't. My Yorkies would bark if you were leaving or coming into the house. Well, it's always small dogs that do that. Well, big dogs too, I guess. All right. I have heard of the Dixie Mafia. Yes. MRE took. Well, you know what? That's what they do. Listen, you guys have to understand something. I don't give a shit. And it's not knocking anybody. I don't have any time for that kind of stuff. Actually, I'm not. I'm not a D. Snyder fan at all. Yeah, I just don't have time for the arguing. Listen, everybody else that wants to argue and fight, let them do that. Um, what's funny, Federal Hill Bill, is my mother dated Buddy Cianci when they were in college. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Yeah, I wish that I had photos of that, but yep, she dated Buddy Cianci for sure. Let's see what else we got. Uh, yeah, Buddy Cianci was great. And then he went and got in trouble. And what's great about Buddy Cianci, right, is he wants to revitalize Providence. He was on the take for years. Everybody knew it. And then he gets arrested in Operation Plunder Dome, ends up getting sentenced to prison, goes to Fort Dix, comes out and runs and gets to be mayor again. Like only in America could that shit happen. I know a lot of people that don't like Buddy Cianci, but you know, well, no, I can't tell when it's blocked. Silly pants. I can't tell. I can't tell. It doesn't like on the StreamYard thing, it doesn't show me what's blocked. It still pops up like it's normal. There's nothing that tells me that they're blocked. But you're right, I should probably read them a little bit more. Did Stanford get kickbacks from the Cherry Hill Gambinos like Bruno went? No, I don't think so. I think that ended with Nicky Scarfo. Or really, you know what? It probably. Why did I say Scarfo? I got Scarfo in the brain the last 2 days. You know why? Because I got this Nicky Scarfo T-shirt I can't get rid of, and it's haunting me. I'm having fucking nightmares of Nicky Scarfo. Probably not as many as Philly and Eddie is having, but I don't think so. Probably once Bruno went, I don't think so. I don't think so. So if you guys are going to come in here and you're going to say things about another content creator, wrenches, just throw them out. I don't care what they say. If it's anything negative to any or about any content creator, throw them out. If they say nasty stuff about Lee, throw them out. FBS, throw them out. MRE, throw them out. Bay 8, throw them out. I don't want people like that in my chat. If they're saying nice things, that's not a bad thing. But if it's negative, throw them out. I don't need that here. I don't want that here. And this is the way that I conduct my chat. People may not like it, but it's the best way to just keep the turds out of the punch bowl. He did. He did. I mean, just with the water fountains, the fire fountains, and all of that. I mean, he revitalized downtown Providence. When I was a kid, that was a pigsty. I mean, other than Federal Hill, which that Federal Hill went through a huge transformation anyway. My grandfather once said, well, never mind, I can't repeat that because that would probably be considered ill things to say about people. But for a long time, Federal Hill was clean and everything, and then the drugs moved in, and it's a lot different. He definitely was a character, 100%, 100%. I never met Buddy Cianci. I wish I had, but my mother used to tell me stories. My grandfather, all my uncles knew him, and some other people. But my mother never had a bad word to say about him. She always used to say, I wonder if I hadn't met your father, if I would have married Buddy. And I'm like, I don't know about that, Ma. But she never had anything negative. He used to go to my grandfather's house on Sundays and eat dinner with them. Uh, Let's see. Buddy spoke at Providence College graduation when he was under indictment. He went to jail 3 months later. Yeah. Yeah. Funny. He goes after the mafia, right? And turns out, what's really weird? And I don't know if I want to say this publicly, but my uncle's wife's father was a guy by the name of Antonio Guerra. Okay. And those of you who are in Providence would know what the Promenade is. It was the old foundry building. Antonio Guerra bought it, which was my uncle's father-in-law. And at one point, they were going to move the New England Patriots to Providence, and it was through Antonio Guerra that they were going to do it. So there you go. I don't want to say much past that, but I knew a lot of. I still know a lot of people there. Still know a lot of people. The Smiths get to K2's Jeff is being haunted by Scarfo. The ghost of little Nicky Scarfo is looking for his kickback. Yeah, yeah. Buddy Cianci. You don't know who Buddy Cianci is? Everybody knows who Buddy is. He's probably the only mayor that ever had a state funeral on CNN. What do I think of Griselda Blanco? I think she was a drug dealer. I think she was a visionary in a lot of different ways. And I also think she was a sociopath. And I think that karma caught up to her in the end. I'll check back at halftime guy out here watching the game, making lists. Cheers. Yeah, making lists. So what? What are you making lists of? What are you making lists of? 100%. 100%. It was totally different. My family owned a lot of tenement homes on the hill. And then they, moved off of Smith Street into Modena Ave. So those are my roots. But my aunt, who died, I think about 6 months, because she was in her 90s. I was my grandfather's sister, still lived on the hill. Still lived on the hill. She never left. My Uncle Jimmy never left the hill. Never. It's a lot different now. I was back there 2 years ago for a John Gotti Jr. fight, and I hadn't been back in probably 15 years. Okay, let's be honest. I didn't recognize Federal Hill. I recognized it visually, like this is where I'm at, but I just was like, so many things are different. And it was weird. It was almost sad. We drove down Modena Ave and I was pointing out the house, and it was sad. It was sad to me. And I just wanted to get out of the car and go sit on the porch, because that's where all of my memories are from. My grandfather sitting out giving candy to people that walk by, smoking his cigar, drinking his scotch, everybody rolling up to come see him, kiss him, say hello, that kind of stuff. I miss that kind of stuff. There's something about a New England childhood that people will never understand. All right. What's up with Crazy Phil speaking down on Joe? Well, what else is he going to do? What's he going to say? Hi, Jen. How are you? A lot of guys, they notice that a lot of these mob informants typically have nothing good to say about anybody that they loved for like 20 years. You find that a bit odd? Oh, you loved him for 20 years. It was great as long as you was making the money. But now that you're a rat, you have nothing good to say. Why doesn't that shock me? Why doesn't it shock me? Sean Sharon, how has your night been? It's all right. How is the Gravano coming? It's slow. It's a slow moving process. It's because you have to, anytime you sit to do anything film wise, like especially a documentary, what is it that I want to get out? What is most important to me, right? So I have like my mission statement, so to speak, my bottom line of what I want to get out. But to get there is a lot of maneuvering. And there are people that I want to talk to, lawyers I want to talk to and interview, just to have them sort of come on and give their 2 cents, because I want opposing viewpoints. I don't want it to be, oh, look, Jeff Canarsi's just saying this. I want to back it up with nothing but facts. And we are going to probably do something on YouTube Live with that, where we're going to invite people, you guys on, and I'll let you know ahead of time that, by the way, this is going to be in a documentary, because I think what is imperative is to showcase that normal average human beings don't really have any like for this guy. And take away the ratting and all of that, there's nothing likable about him. He's despicable from beginning to end. And I also have a really interesting thing about asking people in New York City who Sammy Gravano is. And oh, you would be surprised at some of the things that they say, and it's not nice. I'm not going to address, first of all, I'm not even going to highlight this. I'm going to bypass it. See, Angel, I just did it. Listen, who gives a fuck or who cares what religion anybody is? We've repeatedly spoken about it on my show. Angel's spoken about it on her show. Who cares? Who cares? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But I will answer your question, Jenny. I will answer your question. I think that started with Jerry Capisci, and I think it starts and ends with Jerry Capisci. Sorry, Jenny, I apologize to you. I kind of read it wrong and I got a little inflamed by it. So I apologize to you. But no, it starts and ends with Jerry Capisci. 100%. 100%. Rolling shits. I could care less. I could care less. In fact, I don't even want you here. So you're good. You're gone. Let's see. The Prince of Providence. Yeah, there was a book written called The Prince of Providence. Very interesting book. Sorry, guys, I have to proofread a lot of these things because they're coming a mile a minute, and I don't want to. You are the mob history god. Well, not really. So, what do you think would happen during the Mafia Prime if all this looting and destroying of history would they take part and prosper and try to? I don't know if there's anything they could do. Times are different. But if you go back to the 1960s or even 70s, this wouldn't have happened. I could tell you that much. But even look at what happened like down in Philadelphia. The Italians got guns and went down and protected the statue. It says, not here, you're not going to fucking do it. And you know something? When they all started looting in Philadelphia, guess where they didn't fucking loot? South Philly. They didn't fuck around there. You notice that? And they should be proud of that. They closed their neighborhood off to the animals who were going to break into everything and torch everything. That is the one neighborhood that didn't get touched. Everywhere else, they looted like crazy, but they didn't dare step one foot in South Philly. Just telling you. Griselda was nothing more than a multi-kilo dealer who grew up during the time of civil war in Colombia, and having people murdered was cheap. She also robbed a lot of Colombian distributors, which is why her son and herself got killed. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Atwell's Ave it's different. It's a different feeling. Maybe it's just because I'm older and like relatives have died and I'm not as close to my relatives as I used to be. Maybe it's that, but it didn't have the same feeling. And it was kind of sad. All right, Yankees for life. Sweet dreams. I hope the Yankees lose. Go Red Sox. Oh, I guess I missed the story. Are we talking about when Nicky Scarfo threw the horse off a cliff? That's the most funniest crap. That's funny. All right, I'm going to keep going through here. And we're holding steady at 170. Not bad. Does anybody remember back in the 90s? Okay. Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. He put it right in his mouth and blew his head off on live TV. I remember that. I don't remember his name or what state it was from, but I remember seeing that. It's the video is still on YouTube, I think. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. With so many people debunking all the informant stories, do you think their numbers have gone down in recent months? No, I don't think so. See, what everybody has to understand, okay? Sorry, somebody just sent me a really disturbing text. That's funny. No, see, so like I have 15,000 some subs, right? That only accounts for 10% of people that watch my videos. Okay, because typically people that subscribe to your channel, maybe a quarter of them really watch. Like for instance, I put out a video, let's say 6 months ago, and I might do 5,000 views in the first week, and then maybe by the end of the third or fourth month, I'm at 35,000 views. Well, I only have 15,000 subs. So that tells you that the people that watch and engage in my show are almost triple what the subscribers are. Now, if every subscriber that I had watched my show, I would do 15,200 a show. You know what I mean? So I think reality is it's really hard to tell what your numbers are. Now, if you're somebody that only has 3,000 subs or 4,000 subs or 5,000 subs, and you're only maxing out at 2,000 live or 3,000, that would be something. But the what you need to look at is that what are you getting every show? and it's always going to sort of fluctuate back and forth, right? But there was one time when I was actively doing this, I was getting 5,000 plus a week. A week. I have some videos that are over 90,000 views. So my subscribers do not account for the people that actually watch my show. But if you have 3,000 subs and only like 1,000 people are watching, then you can do the math. But sometimes you can have low subs and you could double and triple your views. So I don't think their numbers are going to ever go away. People like to listen to stuff, and unfortunately, I think a lot of people, they do not have a vested interest in who's an informant, who is it. They just wants to hear they just want to hear stories and be entertained. You know, Ouija board is evil. Contacted a murderer friend of mine. Okay, I don't. That's gonna creep me out. Thanks a lot. Um, if the Anthony Caponegro hit was a commission decision, did the bosses from the Lucchese's? No, they didn't. They didn't. Okay. It was a decision made by Vinny the Chin that he was going to go, and he was going to go immediately. It wouldn't have mattered what anybody at that time would have had to say. Gambino was gone at that point. Vinny the Chin, for the most part, was the most powerful mob boss. And if he said that's the way it was going to go, that's the way it was going to go. At the time, the Bonanos were not even on the commission anymore. They had been thrown off the commission, so they wouldn't have had a choice either. And so what you're going to have is you're going to have the Gambinos, the Lucchese's, and the Columbos talking about it, and nobody was going to go at Vinny the Chin at that point. So there you go. Do you have a good book recommendation? No, I don't. I really don't. God, I wish there was. I wish there was. Maybe there is, and I'm just not thinking about it. But I typically, to be honest with you, I don't read a ton of mob books, just because when I was younger, I did. But once I sort of got to the point where I realized that there's a lot of nonsense in books and a lot of secondhand. Like, I'll give you a good example. Hold on one second. Okay. So somebody sent me a copy of this book by Anthony M. DiStefano, the mafia crew that killed for John Gotti, Gotti's boys. From page 1, okay, to page, oh Christ, 300 is nothing but lies. And you know why I know that? Because this guy who wrote this book quoted a rat who didn't even know the Gottis. Okay. Well, he quoted a rat who pretends to know them and who pretended to work for John Gotti Sr. Well, we all know he didn't. And so when an author's information is coming from somebody like that, then I don't believe it. George Anastasia used to be a great writer, but he screwed up his own career, in my opinion, by platforming a rat who wrote lies. It's just true. It's just true. Admire that you don't allow religion or politics in the chats. I've seen it tear best. Well, listen, that seems to be like the gaslighting sort of thing. And it's like, I'm Catholic. I don't care who knows it. Some people don't like Catholics. But I really don't care what religion you are. I mean, everybody has a right to choose whatever they want. I don't agree with Democrats. I don't agree with Republicans. I don't consider myself anything other than an asshole with a mouth and an opinion that really nobody wants to fucking hear. That's kind of the way I see it. That's kind of the way I see it. Next time you're back down the way of Philly, check out Me Pals on 16th and Wolf Italian Joint. Try the chicken cutlet sub. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Typically, I go to the same places when I'm down there. So he was from Pennsylvania. I couldn't remember. As an Italian New Yorker, yeah. I mean, I listen. I live in New York, and I loved it. I loved it because I think that they stood together. And it's funny because I talked to a mob guy on the phone when all this is going on. And I says, how's things going? He goes, pal, they're not getting in the neighborhood. You better believe me. They're not coming here. We got it taken care of. So if that tells you who was in control of it, there you go. Naples and Sorrento. Yep. Naples and Sorrento, Northern Italians. Let's see. If you took out drugs and murder, the mafia would only be guilty of racketeering and tax evasion. Do you think the feds would have backed off? No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. Because who's the biggest drug dealers? The government. Okay. It's always been that way, always will be that way. Pharmaceutical is basically big drug dealers, right? The CIA constantly backed drug dealers, gave people drugs, flooded this country with drugs. So really, who's worse? And that's funny. I always hear people, and I'm not being like content creator specific when I say this, but a lot of people always say, oh, you know, that Joe Bonanno, the mafia always sells drugs. The biggest fucking drug dealers in this country was the CIA and the DEA. Okay, so don't tell me that, and I'm Jesse, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just making a point. I'm making a point that, you know, did the mob import tons of drugs? Absolutely, 100%. But the CIA also protected the drug dealers in Marseille, France, who ran the French connection. So I get a little confused sometimes when I hear people say, well, they're all drug dealers, scumbags, fuck them, you know, and all this crazy shit. What about the government? What about the government? You know, I bet you the government's got more bodies related to drugs than the mob. Anybody want to fight me on that? All right. That piece of shit ever comes in my chat again, get rid of him. Tony shits on pizza or whatever. All right, let's see. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Let's see what else. Let's see. Hey, can't stay, but came on to give you my thumbs up. Have to get to work. Have a great show, Chintani. Yeah, Chintani to you too. 100 years. What is it Frank Sinatra said? May you live to be 100 years and may the last voice you hear be mine. Hey, listen, if I can go out the right way, that's the last voice I ever want to hear is Sinatra. Fuck some girlfriend, some wife or whatever. I don't want to hear that nonsense. Just play Sinatra and go in the other room. Let me die in peace. Why didn't the Gambinos have more of a presence in New Jersey? They had a huge presence in New Jersey. Huge presence. And yeah, they were present. No, it's always been, listen, there's Lucchese's, Columbus, Genovese's, like everybody's in Jersey. All five families have the representation. Westchester County, probably going to be the Genovese's. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Carmine Galante was a very vicious man. No, he was. He was. He screwed up that whole Canada thing real quick. Let's see. A lot of people just want to hear stories and haven't ever heard because of all the mob stories are so played over and over. When the snitch tells a story, it's something you haven't heard. No, and I agree with you. That's why people listen. You know, people like me, people like Fat Bald Sicilian and other people, you know, but we like to look into it. You know, what's true and what isn't, what's accurate and what isn't. If you just take one person's word for it, then that's all you ever hear. I think it was it John Gotti? I could be wrong. Angel will tell me if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn John Gotti said, you know, as far as truth, there's my side of the truth, your side of the truth, and then there's the truth itself. You know what I mean? He probably said it. He said it a little bit differently than that. Yeah, there's three sides to a truth: your version, my version, and then what actually is the truth. No, I am absolutely not. No, I am a secret member of the Knights of. I can't think of anything funny. No, I'm not a member of the Knights of Columbus. All my relatives were. I never really got into that kind of stuff. I just thought it was a little weird, cultish, and clannish, and I just didn't. I never wanted to get involved in that kind of stuff. Um, I mean, I could talk about some other things, but it's probably better that I don't. No, I don't think you're right. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. Yes, I'm an asshole like you. Well, Carlos, I'm glad to meet you. Glad to meet you. Of course. You know what I think is funny is that people are now coming in here trying to drag people to their channel. That's funny. That's new. That's funny. You hold the gold when it comes to ranking the shit out of these two clowns and Philly Ratweiser and his wife. Oh, that's yeah. There you go. Yeah, he's not a fan of mine. I'm going to tell you what. Him and I had some serious words outside the courthouse. Uh, and you know what? I probably wouldn't feel that way if Dave Schratweiser just left people alone. I understand he's got a job to do, but when you're peeking over somebody's fence and somebody's sitting in their boxer shorts reading the Sunday newspaper, like you don't consider that to be a little, I don't know, kind of fucked up, a little creepy, stalkerish. Then he ran his mouth on his Instagram about me, which really started some shit. Somebody says, "Why does that guy Canarsie hate you so much?" Because we talk the truth and he talks bullshit. Yeah, okay, buddy. You know, I understand that these days it's hard to find honesty in most forms of the media. That's why I like to get book recommendations from somebody like yourself. Thanks for your time. Yeah, no, I wish I could. I would. Yeah, I tell you what I'll do. I'll definitely do some research over the next couple of days, see if I can find anything out for you, and drop it on. I'll drop it on my community page. There is a great mob book that you guys should read, though. Hold on, let me grab that off the shelf. Where is the fucking book? I just had it. All right. So the name of this book is called From Murder Incorporated to the PGA Tour. It's the remarkable untold story of Charlie the Bug Workman, who was a Jewish hitman for Murder Inc., and his son, Chuck Workman, who became a PGA Golf Tour pro. It is written by Chuck Workman and Peter Semino. And believe it or not, this book was sent to me for free years ago before Chuck Workman died, the son. The father had already died a couple of years prior, but I was going to have his son. Um, I was going to have his son on my show. The book is incredible. It is truthful. It's backed up with government documents, the whole entire thing. That's why I love this book so much. So it's called From Murder Incorporated to the PGA Tour. The remarkable untold story of Charlie the Bug Workman, his son, PGA pro Chuck Workman. It is written by Chuck Workman and Peter Semino, Cimino. It's a fantastic book. If you've never written it, phenomenal. If you've never read this book, it's a great book because it talks about a different time period of the mob, my favorite time, the 1930s. And Charlie Workman was an unreal hit guy. Unreal hit guy. He knew everybody from Luciano to Meyer Lansky to everybody. So it's a fantastic book. So if you're looking for a book that's really accurate and it's backed up by files, that is going to be a phenomenal read. And I wish, looking back, that I had had the opportunity to sit down with Charlie the Bug Workman's son, Chuck, because he had some stories. Unbelievable stuff, but fantastic, fantastic. Let's see. All right. So all the stuff about Sal Ruggiero wasn't true. When I listened to the audiobook of it, I came away thinking Angelo's well, see, that's my point. You bring up a really good point, Donald. A lot of stuff they did say about Sal Ruggiero was true. The stuff about Angelo was even really kind of remarkably true. But the problem is like you just said, it's your final part of the sentence, thinking that you came away thinking that Angelo's brother was supplying the entire country. And that's sort of the problem with that book is they make a mountain, a mountain out of a molehill. If he had once, I don't know, uh, shown any court documents, instead he continuously quotes a rat, and just I can't get into that. Please talk on your video wrestling. I don't. Please talk on your video. I've done wrestling stuff. There's unfortunately not a lot I can do. Wrestling is not my thing. So let's see. Let's see. Three side what you're told, what's said, and what really did happen. I don't know what that's about. The Knights of Knee. There you go. The Knights who say knee. The Knights who say knee. Let's see. No, he was very significant. Very, very significant. Very, very, very much so. Good night, Joy. Well, let's all pile in the van and head over to Joy's and get on the plane tomorrow to head to Jamaica. Jeez, lucky, lucky, lucky. God, I get to look out of my window the next 2 days. That's fun. I'll just have to dream of Jamaica. I've heard that, but no, that's not true. It's not true. He was very close to some very big people, but as far as being an on the record associate, no. No. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to skip let's see. Next time you're down to Florida, come by what? I was just there. Well, not just there. I was there about a year ago. I was just there about a year ago. I wish I'd have known you then. Good night, Amber Alert. See, I can be nice. Let's see. Oh, that's so funny. Oh. I remember when you gave Dave Schratweiser the scumbag of the week on your show. Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to tell you something. What really pissed me off was that I don't want to say his name, but I was giving somebody a copy of my show for free and they sent it to him. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you fuck with my business that way? And this was somebody I respected. Now, I hope they fucking keel over and shit themselves to death. You know what I mean? Like, I just, Abe Kid Twist Relish, not talked enough is King Rat sent 6 people to the chair. Yeah, that's Pete. You bring up a really good point. And a lot of people, that's one thing to put a guy, in jail for prison for life. I mean, that's horrible. But this guy got people sentenced to fucking death. But like you said, he could sing, but he couldn't fly. And they handled that, didn't they? Threw him right out of the fucking window. Yeah, Al, I'm going to try to do some more of them. It's just that I don't know. I know somebody that's a pro wrestler. It's a pretty big name. It's got some stories, but I don't want to go in that direction. Just because I feel personally like unless I'm an expert on like kayfabe and all that kind of stuff, which I'm not, then I really shouldn't be talking about it. People that now would I work with somebody that does a wrestling show and wanted to talk about organized crime involvement? 100% I would do it. But I just things like biker gangs and stuff, like I don't know a lot of stuff about that, so I don't feel comfortable talking about it. If I don't know something for 100%, I just won't say anything. It's just kind of the way I am. Look, Jay's Trouble just walked in the door. What's up, VP? Do I follow basketball, college, or pro? If so, what are your teams of choice? No. Pro basketball, I'm a Celtics fan. Past that, college, not really. I listen, it's like with baseball, right? I'm a huge Red Sox fan, but the idea of somebody saying to me, hey, let's sit down and have a 50 pack and watch all 182 games or whatever the fuck it is, I can't do it. I can go watch a baseball game. Like I went to go see the Yankees and the Red Sox play, and I wore my goddamn Boston hat. And nobody said a fucking word. And I loved every minute of it because the Red Sox won. Because I won't even go to a Yankees game. Like my cousin had to drag me screaming and I'm not going to the Yankees. Come on, they're going to play the Indians. They're playing Boston tomorrow. Just go tonight. We'll go tomorrow. I didn't even want to walk into Yankee Stadium being a Red Sox fan. It like made my skin crawl, but that's just me. But as far as like college, I love watching Missouri anything because my father went to Missouri. UVA, I like the University of Virginia as far as basketball goes. But really, I mean, you're not going to catch me watching a college basketball game. Not anymore. When I was younger, absolutely. I was a huge Syracuse fan when I was a kid. Huge Syracuse fan. But I just, basketball is just so different these days. And mainly, I watch my Boston Red Sox. I watch my Philadelphia Eagles, fly. I watch my Pittsburgh Penguins, and that's really about it. I don't think am I missing anything? No, I think that's pretty much about it. I don't watch soccer. I can't get into soccer. It's not my thing either. Unless it's World Cup soccer, I can get into that. But I would rather inject myself with horse tranquilizers than to watch a soccer game. It's just me. Just me. Because anytime these guys, they're running down the field, look at them go, and somebody just farts and they fall like they're having a heart attack. Like, I can't deal with people with no physical contact and faked physical contact. You know, that's just me. Chargers, Padres. There you go. And the Red Sox bought the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's another thing. Like, talk about like an orgasm of the soul. Holy crap, the Red Sox owners bought the Pittsburgh Penguins too. I love this shit. There you go. I don't like the fact that LeBron James is involved. Don't even get me started on that. Let's see. Hey, leave soccer alone. Yes, fakers in football are scum. I tell you what, I can watch there. God, what is it called? Oh God, it's in Italian. I love rugby. I'll watch rugby all goddamn day. But just soccer, like Liverpool and like some of the European based soccer I like, but American soccer I don't. I don't get it. But when I was in Ireland for a month, I watched something called hurling. Holy shit! You want to talk maniacs? Hurling is fucking nuts. Eagles are going nowhere with Jalen Hurts. Yeah, wow. I don't want to talk about the Eagles, fan. I don't want to talk about the Eagles because if I started on the Eagles, we're gonna enter into a very racy subject. I know you just said wrestling isn't your thing, but could you look into the story about the outfit chasing? Oh, I can tell you completely that story right now if you want to hear about it. I did so Lou Albano at the time was in a tag team, and I believe they were calling themselves the Mobsters, the Gangsters. Do not quote me on that tag team name. I'm going to get it wrong. Cosa Nostra, they called them something like that. And what ended up happening was some Chicago mobsters saw it and were absolutely fucking irate, right? But it didn't take place in Chicago, the incident. What happened was a couple of weeks later, they were in Madison Square Garden using the same name. And someone from the Genovese crime family went and met Captain Lou Albano out back and said, if you ever use this name again, we will fucking kill you. And he never used it again. So there you go. Let's see. Just found out about hurling. It's fucking nuts. It's crazy. And then they have this thing in Italy where once a year, all the little small villages, it's a combination of rugby, boxing, football, and soccer. And there's no rules. There are no fucking rules. These people for 90 minutes run with the ball from one end to the other end of a dirt field, and you can punch the shit out of each other. You can kick each other, bite each other, grab balls, eye gouge. You've got to look it up. I don't know the name of it. Hold on. I got you guys on here now. Maybe I can look up. I probably don't have time to do it now, but it's insane. And once a year in Italy, all of the small towns in Italy come together to do this stuff. It's insane. When I was in Italy, I watched it and I went, holy crap. Now, this is something I would never play. I consider myself a guy who played pro hockey, a pretty manly guy. But that shit, no thank you. People leave on stretchers in that shit. It's crazy. And my other favorite sport to watch is the cheese hurling down the fucking hill in London, in England. I don't know where they do it. They do it somewhere in the countryside, but they take a big hunk of fucking cheese and they throw it down this monster hill, and everybody runs down the goddamn hill and they start flipping and falling, breaking legs. And I'm like, holy crap. That's another thing that I could see myself as a 10-year-old wanting to do that. But at 44, I would be like a paraplegic if I participated in that. The cheese rolling. I like the fact that he had rubber bands in his face. I always wondered about that. I was a champion hurler at keg parties. There you go. Yeah, there you go. There you go. We still got 145 in the chat. We're going to go till 9:30. If there's anything you guys want to talk about, we will talk about. Nice on topic episode. Well, listen, Tommy, I like to talk about all kinds of stuff. I can't, I know a lot of people here come to talk about the mob stuff, but every once in a while, somebody wants to talk about other things. I'm willing to talk about it. Yeah, I'm not one dimensional. I can be 3-dimensional most days. Should I read you guys this text I got just to show you how creepy my friends are? Giant erect troll penises. James and the Giant Hairy Peach. These were texts that I got because people know that I'm doing my live show and they're trying to trip me up. Oh my God. At work, regular customers, a Philly guy, thick accent, and an Eagles cap. I always find a joke. Once he broke a pipe, I said to fix it. And he says, I hate to lose. I laughed my ass off. Yeah. Philadelphia is something else. South Philly. South Philly. Yeah, I could totally do the Philly thing. South Philly. They're South. It's got to be a Pennsylvania Dutch kind of fucking accent. Not everybody in South Philly has it. Some people have it like thicker than others. And I think it's a generational thing because most guys like 50 and up really have that draw South. But it's funny because hanging out down there as much as I did, I came back with that whole fucking thing. I still can't get rid of it. And you guys have probably heard me on my show. I'm like, like I don't go, and I don't say that. I'm like, and I can't get rid of it. I cannot get rid of it. And I could blame one particular person in South Philly for that being stuck on my brain. And so I go down there now and they're like, you talk just like us. You're from South Philly. And I was like, no, I got it from hanging out with you guys. I pick up their mannerisms and stuff like that. But see now, see, she's laughing. She knows what I'm talking about. South Philly. Come on down to South Philly. That's how they talk. That's how they talk. And so when I started going down there a lot and hanging out, just with one guy, there's two guys that really have that draw really bad. And what you get around them and you're around them like, 4 or 5 hours at a time, and you go home and you're talking to somebody else and you're like, I had a good time down in South Philly. And I can't get rid of it. I could go see a shrink. I can't get rid of it. So like when I talk to people, it's like, it's the same thing. It's out going down to South Philly. I can't stop doing it. And it's not like I'm intentionally trying to do it. And so when people have listened to my show, they assume that I'm from South Philadelphia. I'm not. But I can't get rid of it. Can somebody out there help me, please? My buddy, Sonny, it's your fault. I'm going to blame you publicly. You'll see this. It's your fault, Sonny, that I talk like that. I get it from you. That's where I get it from. That's South Philly for real. Yeah. Yeah. And I got South Philly roots. I'm not from South Philly. My family, when they immigrated into the country, came to New York and South Philadelphia, from Philadelphia. But you hang out with the corner guys, and all of a sudden you start talking pidgin English like them, and you don't even realize you're doing it. Like my lawyer one night says, "The fuck did you move to South Philly?" So what do you mean? He goes, "Listen to how you're talking." I said, "What do you mean how I'm talking?" He's like, "Listen to yourself." It's like, and I'm not doing it intentionally. But you take me around there, it's weird. You guys, if you went down there, you'd understand. South Philly, get down to South Philly. Yeah, I know. Nobody could help me. Yeah, see? Yeah. And that is it. You know what it is? Rayism. It's anybody that's older than like 35 or 40 years old seems to have that accent, and it's localized to South Philadelphia. I could probably even localize it to fucking like 9th or 13th and Catherine. And I'm not making fun of nobody. I'm really not. But it's like I get around them and I start diddy bopping the same way they do, and I don't realize I'm doing it. And then so people go, "Where'd you grow up in South Philly?" I'm like, "I'm not. I was born in New York, grew up in Rhode Island." They're like, "How the fuck are you talking like us?" I don't know. It's Sonny's fault. Sonny, I fucking blame you. But listen, at the end of the day, that is, if I could ever compliment anybody, that'd be the way that I would compliment them. That if I was ever going to be like anybody, I'd want to be like him. Stand-up guy. I love that guy. Anyway, I do not, you would be fucking hilarious if you spoke Spanish. I do speak Spanish. Fluently. No, I don't speak Spanish. I understand it when they're cursing at me. I always love it when I go into a bodega Like, first of all, I'm not Hispanic at all, but they seem to think I am. Hispanics in New York all seem to think that everyone knows Spanish and everyone is Spanish because every time I go in there, papi, papi, mira, mira, and I look at what they're pointing at, they're like, oh, you understand Espanol? And I'm like, but you just spoke to me in Spanish. You already assumed that I knew what you were saying, but I do know what you're saying because I grew up in Puerto Rican neighborhoods. I know when they're cursing me out. That's the best part is when I go to the bodega and there's an old Spanish guy in there that for whatever reason wants to mouth off at me and call me cuss words and he thinks I don't understand what he's saying. And then I retort in Spanish and he looks at me like, ay, Dios mío, how does he know? When I really get pissed off, that's when it comes out like crazy. That's what happens when you hang out with a South Philly peeps. Yeah. Listen, I am every bit. I am one part Rhode Island. Well, no, I'm 5 parts Rhode Island and two parts New York, but the rest of me is South Philly. It always will be. You know why? Because my personality is South Philly. I'm not a bullshitter. South Philly handles things one way. They don't sit there and go, "Oh yeah," and then what are you going to do? Oh yeah, there is an oh yeah, and then there's a fist. That's the way they are. That's the way they grew up. That's why people don't just walk in those neighborhoods. You just can't. Tell us about Tommy Agro operation in Florida. Those tapes of him yelling at Joe Dogs is crazy. Yeah, if you guys have never heard the tapes of Tommy Agro screaming at Joe Dogs Iannuzzi, oh my God. Basically the operation is that Joe Dogs had a bunch of different fronts, was shaking down a lot of different people. He wasn't giving Tommy Agro his money. So if you get a chance, go to YouTube, type in Tommy Agro, Joe Dogs Iannuzzi. Those are hilarious. Hilarious. All right. You are now inducted into the Poppy Store world. The fucking cat sleeps on the bridge. Yeah, it's the same way here. I walk in the bodega. There's like a dog like laying on food and stuff, and I'm like, all right, But believe it or not, most of the bodegas in the city are run by Yemenis, not Hispanics, but Yemenis. Yeah, I try to be right about that. I listen. My heart is South Philadelphia, always will be. And listen, people don't like me. That's so be it. So be it. That's because we come in all different colors. Us Boricuas and even other Latino nations, white, black, brown, and indigenous looking. It is what it is. Oh, 100%. 100% Big Lou. 100%. Agro versus dogs is the bomb. Yeah, it's hilarious. Uh-oh. I'm not reading that text. That'll get me arrested. Let's see. Spent the summer hanging out in Western Mass, and people always mocked my Southern accent. Took me a while to get used to the Northeast accents. Love it. Character. Yeah. Well, a lot of people in the South don't like Northerners. Northerners typically don't like Southerners, like the word y'all. I heard y'all like my whole life from different people. Being a Navy brat, you hear things like that. You hear different accents and stuff like that. My father used to say the most goddamn obnoxious. What was it that he said? He said the most obnoxious accent was the Providence accent. He says they all want to be from Boston, but they're all poor white trash that want to be Bostonians. My father was crazy. But then again, my father was also in South Philadelphia and couldn't help himself to tell people that Rocky wasn't real. Oh yeah, Rocky's not real. One thing I have to give to Philadelphia is when they stood up for the statue of Marconi Park. Yeah. Yeah. No. Well, it's still there, but I think it's boxed up. They may have moved it. I'm not sure. I don't go to Marconi Park that often. Usually when I'm there, I'm on Catherine 9th, 13th. I'm usually in the broad. You can find me in typical places. What did he say? MTR, our Agro has a guy with balls as big as cows. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%. Did you ever go to the Messina Club on 10th and Tasker a few years ago? No, absolutely not. 100% no. When I lived in Virginia before 9/11, they used to ask me to say coffee, and I tell them for $1, I'll do it. Yeah, there you go. You want some coffee? That's Southerners for you, but it's coffee. The Rocky story is hilarious. Yeah, it is. It's one of my favorites. My father said a lot of crazy shit. And you know what the thing is like my father, because his father was a colonel in the Air Force during, really the 1940s during World War II and all that kind of nonsense. My father had a very almost a Midwestern accent, which is strange because he grew up all over the world. Um, but I think personality wise, he's total South Philly Providence guy. If you were gonna, if I had to describe my father, like it would be a mash between the two. And we're not talking Providence today. We're talking Providence from like the 1950s. Um, my father had probably my father his side of the family all had like Philly and Scranton roots and Poconos and that sort of area, Wilkes Barre, Pittsburgh, and that kind of stuff. But my father had a that's the funny part. My father used to like criticize people from South Philadelphia. My father was more like South Philly than I think he ever wanted to admit. You know what I mean? What you watching on TV, Pop? Rocky. Fucking fraud. That's just the way my father was. My father was a tough guy too. My God. Ooh. He might not have, I don't think he was the type of guy that would have beat a lot of people up. But the minute that you got him to that level, he just didn't like some people you can see like a slow sort of boil to their anger. Like Nicky Scarfo, for example, would have an explosive anger. My father was like Krakatoa. He didn't go from just like one fuck to I'm getting angry. He went from fuck to murder like immediately. And my father was always descriptive with how he was going to hurt somebody. It was never something as simple as please shut your mouth. It would be something like, if you don't shut your fucking mouth, I'm going to take this meat fork and spay you. Like, that's the way my father was. He's just a tough guy, my father, tough Irish guy. And he was skinny as a rail, too. But those skinny rail guys punch like crazy. South Philadelphia used to be my favorite place. Now a bunch of hipsters seem to be everywhere. Yeah, there is a lot of that. There is a lot of that. But you got to know where to go to avoid that. I stay out of Center City. I don't go to Center City for anything. I'm in South Philly. If I'm anywhere, I'm in South Philly. 0 to 100 real quick. Oh, yeah. 100%. That generation mob talk radio were raised tough and were differently. Yeah. Listen, it's not very often in like a lot of people get angry and they talk shit and they want to be mad and say crazy stuff. But there's a difference between a guy who's just saying crazy shit versus a guy who doesn't have to say it and you just know is crazy as shit. You just kind of got to avoid people. Everyone go subscribe if you haven't already to the paid podcast, mobtalkradioshow.supercast.com. If not, you will be the thing Pete the Killer takes care of. That's funny, D. My father would say, I give you something to cry about, God damn it. Oh, yeah, that's the way my father was. He was. My father used to tell this joke. Oh, God. I can't remember. It was really filthy and funny, but I can't remember. Something about a cowboy, it was something about a cowboy, and I'm going to get this joke wrong, but it was something about a cowboy and a cop sitting next to each other, and the cop is complaining about how many times he got shot and how bad it hurt and how tough he was. And, he kept looking at the cowboy like, come on, like share your story, how tough you are. And they're sitting around a fire and they're drinking. And finally, the cop gets like exacerbated with the fact that this guy won't compete with him. And he says, why won't you compete with me? And the guy points down with one hand and he's stirring his dick in the hot coals and not saying a word. My father loved jokes like that. I didn't tell it right, but sometimes I wonder what the hell my father was thinking. Anyway, gas pipe had a temper too. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. What's up? Checking in from Oceanside, California. My best friend is from Oceanside, California. Absolutely. He doesn't live there anymore. Now he lives in the Mason-Dixon area and he hates it. You'll never understand these fucking people. Oh. Center City, 100%. 100%. I don't like going to Center City for nothing, for no reason. I only go for one or two reasons, but most times I'm just in South Philly. Oh, I'm sure you do. Everybody does. It's not a hidden secret. It's not a hidden secret. All right, so we're at. See, I just did it without even realizing it. It's 9:18. We're going to go till 9:30. If you guys have any mob questions or want to talk about whatever, we can talk about whatever. Oh, here we go. Agro's wig was so shiny, disco balls reflected off it. Him and, you know what, Pete the Killer, him and Nadu ought to have a wig off. See which one's a better wig. Although FBS has been sporting a wig, that's a pretty sexy wig that FBS wears. Center City is a mess. Yeah, it is totally. Let's see. Did Vince McMahon pay off the cops to cover up? That's a really great question. If you watch behind the, oh God, what is it? The Vice TV thing about the wrestling stuff. If you watch that, then you tend to believe that Vince McMahon did. I tend to believe, Al, that he did. There's a lot of reasons why. You have to wonder why, cops in that area specifically didn't look into it. And how they just let it go. It's my belief that McMahon gave him money. I can never prove it. Lee Cole may know more about that story than I do. I'm not sure. Wrestling is kind of some of his background, but I'm unfamiliar with it. But I tend to believe that he did. I do not believe that Jimmy Snuka didn't murder her. I think he did. I think he got away with it. I think he was not mentally ill when they tried to put him on trial for it. I just think he faked it. We should all try on different. We should all send FBS different wigs. Now that would be hilarious. That would be absolutely hilarious. Well, what do you want to know about the Canadian Mafia? What was the deal with Rick Abades? What was the actual beef with Chicken Man and Scarface? Money. Really, that's really what it came down to. Harry Riccaboni wasn't kicking that much back to Angelo Bruno, and he kind of let the Riccaboni got made in the 1920s. He had been around for a long time, and Angelo Bruno just kind of let him function. He threw a bit of money back to Angelo Bruno. But after Bruno died, Nicky Scarfo pretty much decided that everybody and their mother was going to pay a street tax. And Riccaboni didn't really like that idea. And it probably had more to do with the fact that Scarfo demanded versus being polite about it, I guess. And I'm sure that it was more money than Riccaboni was kicking up before. And that's what set it off. Let's see. Jeff Nadeau's hairpiece toupee thing looks like a dead animal on his fucking head. Yeah, I'm waiting for it to sprout legs and run. I can't stand Jeff Nadeau. He's a liar. That's my only problem with him. He's just a liar. He can't tell the truth about anything. Dark Side of the Ring. That's what it was. Do you think Vito Rizzuto ever got his friend's Cadillac back? The phone recording was hilarious. Yeah, if you guys don't know what Chris Gorky is talking about here, a guy called Vito Rizzuto to complain about his Cadillac getting stolen. Now, in reality, it was something inside the Cadillac he needed, but the fact that he called a mob boss, yeah, my car got stolen. Can you handle that? Well, where was it last seen? There's a video on YouTube. If you type in Vito Rizzuto Cadillac, you can listen to the wiretap. It's fucking hilarious. Nadeau got a notch cut. Looks like he got his hair cut with a banana knife. Well, some people are just unkempt. They want to look that way. From Aramingo Ave in Tioga. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have to go down to Aramingo Ave all the time to get to Chicks from where I'm coming from. That's usually where I can be found. When I'm down there, I'll go there first, and then I go somewhere else. Oh, Riccaboni was a pimp. He was like 70 something. Yeah. Listen, he wasn't a good looking guy either. You know what's great about Harry Riccaboni? You guys can go onto YouTube and look it up for yourself. He does this interview from prison where he's talking about when they were trying to kill him and how he's ducking because he's so small. He's ducking under the dash. And the fact that he's laughing hysterically, yeah, they were trying to kill me. They couldn't. I kept ducking. That's a nutcase. I don't know how many people could laugh about something like that. Yes, he did. He had a relationship with Vito Genovese. When Vito Genovese was over there during World War II, Vito Genovese joined the army. And it's actually on behalf of Mussolini that Vito Genovese pulled off a murder here in the United States on behalf of Mussolini. Pete the Killer, Nadeau hair bull is a bowl cut gone wrong. Yes, and make sure you say hello to Philip for me and tell him you know me. You'd be good. Phil's a good guy. Good guy. I can't really say anything bad. Thoughts on Frank Collada? Think he was truthful? No, I don't. I don't think he was. I really don't think he was about a lot of things. But who am I to say? He's him, I'm me. But I don't think he told the truth on a lot of things. And I also think that he thinks he was a lot bigger in that life than he actually was. Now, was he a serious guy? 100%. Was he a killer? 100%. But was he like, as big as other people? No. No, it's always easy when everybody else is dead to say crazy shit, right? Um, I used to torment him with that fucking coffee with Coolata. I used to call him Coolo Latte. uh, what's your opinion on the Dark Side of the Ring on Dino Bravo? So I did a documentary on Dino Bravo. I think it was close, but they don't. Once again, and I'll just say this, and I think that even mob content creators that don't like me, I think will agree with me that I think that what you have is wrestling writers who don't understand organized crime. So they don't understand the functionality or the time period or what the real issue was. And so they base it on rumors and gossip from people like Rick Martel and some other people who would have known. But the reality is they don't even exploit the relationship and how he was related to the Catronis. They don't even explain that he was the nephew through marriage and etc. They don't explain the shipments of cigarettes. Instead, they mention drugs, and that's really what led to it, the cigarettes and the drugs. And so I wish that when they would do these things, that they would pull in somebody that has mob expertise or at least is knowledgeable in the field so that they could say, in reality, this is why that was likely done. Can we be 100% certain? Of course not. But the guy got shot 15 fucking times from behind while watching the Toronto Maple Leafs play. Or maybe it was the Montreal Canadiens, whatever the case may have been. But to get shot that many times from behind means you allowed somebody in your house. And usually the people that kill you in an instance like that are the ones that are closest to you. So I thought it was good. It was entertaining. But I think if they had just talked to some people that sort of have a different aspect to that, then I think that it would have been better. That's just my opinion. Harry the Hunch was as tough as nails. Yeah, he didn't fuck around. There was. Jack Dragna ran the Los Angeles Mafia until Bugsy Siegel showed up and started a bunch of shit with him. And then Mickey Cohen took over the entire Los Angeles Mafia. And a lot of that's because Jack Dragna was soft. Otherwise, the mob would have never backed anybody else encroaching on his turf. And Jack Dragna wasn't the kind of guy that was going to play well in the sandbox with others anyway. It just wasn't, it just wasn't the same. He was the Midwest Henry Hill. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, 100%. Crazy how Riccoboni, 4'11", took the gun off the guy who killed Salvi Testa. Yep. Let's see. I always wanted to know your thoughts on the TV movie Mob Justice, starring Tony Danza and Frank Vincent. I never saw that. I've never seen it. Never seen that film. All right, I'm going to look really close, scroll down a little bit. Al Greco, great show. Thanks, buddy. Gerard Estates. Sonny the Smiths, hello. Hope you're well. Who's Sonny the Smiths? Okay. Too many live shows are a bit too dramatic, crazy for my taste. Personally, I enjoy pleasant and intelligent chat most of the time. Yep, and that's what we try to do here. That's what we try to do here. I think Harry did have 9 lives. That's what I try to do. Occasionally, if somebody's rubbing me the wrong way, I'll say something. But for the most part, I try to get along with everybody, even if I don't like them. I think really, and you could insert your violin music here, but I think for the sake of the genre, there's a lot of people that have butchered this genre. I think there's a lot of people that have hurt the genre. I think also there's a lot of people that don't belong in the genre that think they do, and they call themselves whatever, and they're really not. And I think there are people who are honestly attempting to do it, but get sidetracked with other stuff, and that's okay too. But it's like it's oversaturated. Listen, you go back 7 years ago, I was the only one doing this. I was here before the rats. I was here before them. Um, uh-oh. I was here before the rats, and I'll be here long after the rats. Everything has a shelf life. Oh, it's but listen, I tell everybody, um, that if you want to do this genre, go right ahead, but just understand what you're getting involved in and just um understand facts. You know what I mean? And listen, I'm just going to say this publicly. If you want to cancel your subscription, go right ahead. I can definitely do that. If you want to cancel your subscription because I did a YouTube live, then maybe I don't want your business. How about that? You know, um, these lives are great. I can only catch them when I'm on break at work. I listen afterwards. Well, I'm really trying to just keep the nonsense down. I'm just, listen, I used to have this thing where I would go on and do anybody's show. I won't do it anymore. A lot of that is because if you do that and you go on somebody's show and somebody's upset with somebody, then they lop on you. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I don't need them. They need me. And that's just the truth. And I would rather just, if somebody calls me and says, hey, do you want to come on my show? I want to talk about a certain topic. I'll be glad to do it. But I'll only do it if you save the BS and the yelling for either after I leave or do it or just after I leave, because I just don't want to be a part of it. I have friends that are involved in a lot of this, and I'm past it. I'm past it, and I would like to come on here and just talk about organized crime. I don't have to be right. I don't have to be wrong. I just share with you the knowledge that I have, and you like it, you like it. If you don't, well, then you don't. It's not about competing with anybody. It's just about doing what I do. Oh, somebody was sending me an IDMB thing. So that's what I try to do. Not everybody is going to like what I do, but I promise you one thing, and nobody else can say this. I'm an award-winning podcast. I make my living doing this. I've been at this almost a decade, give or take. I am probably one of the better foremost authorities on a street perspective. You notice I said street perspective, right? I didn't call myself a mafia expert. Other people call me that. I would never call myself that. The other thing, too, is I know what I'm talking about. I get my information right. And the one thing I do that nobody does is I admit when I'm wrong. And I'll tell you if I get something wrong. Because reality is I will never, ever, ever do a show and just fudge it and make shit up or be half cocked. If I don't know something about something, I'll do one of two things. Either I'll tell you, listen, give me a week, I'll work on it and I'll come back to you, because I don't know everything. But I understand street politics better than all of these other people that are pretending. It's just the truth. And not everybody likes that. So listen, I try to do what's right. People aren't going to like me for whatever reason, and they're entitled to that. But, like I said, I would much rather come to you guys on a weeknight and do this versus some of the stuff I'm seeing. And listen, people got to defend themselves, and I totally understand it. But if you guys notice, remember all the haters and the BSers came in here for the first 30 minutes or so, in and out. You notice they're gone now, right? If you don't react to it and you just do your show or your talk, whatever this is, then they give up. So the question I get all the time is, am I going to have guests? Yes, I'm going to say yes, but anybody that I have on is not going to be a rat, is not going to be a flipper flopper. It's going to be somebody who either did a lot of time in jail, who wants to talk to me about their life. But I also want to talk to people who have lived that life and changed their life and left it behind and are successful. People like George Martorano. People like that are the ones I want to talk to. Because I don't want to revel in the murder and the mayhem. I want to revel in, okay, you made a choice for 30 years to do this and you got out and you're now you're even a bigger success now. Because I think that for a lot of people, once you're convicted of a felony, you think there's no way around it. I got felonies. I couldn't get a regular job if I wanted to, and that's the truth. Nobody would hire me in their right mind. So I had no alternative but to do things I wasn't proud of for a long time because I had to make ends meet. You can go to one job. No, I won't hire you. McDonald's, I won't hire you. Well, if you're never going to give me an opportunity, then I got to do whatever I got to do to get myself up out of the gutter. And that's what I've done. And now I make a living talking about something that I'm interested in. And that's it. If you can find one thing that makes you happy and make money doing it, by all means, grab it by the balls and squeeze. That's what you got to do. And unlike 90%, because there are a couple that are, but unlike all of these other people, they don't make any money. This isn't a business to them. This is either out of boredom or they want to be popular or they want to have friends. And I get it, but I make money doing this. And so this is my livelihood. And so when I do get pissed off, I have a tendency to go at people because you're not just attacking me personally, you're attacking my business. And I have a problem with that. And I am going to address one comment before I get out of here. Somebody said, at least I heard, I didn't hear it myself, that, and I've heard Nadu say too, that I think I know everything and nobody else knows what I know. Those aren't my words. Those are yours. That's your opinion. And that's not the way I see things. But when I make money doing this, and I've been at this for 7 years and nobody is better at this than me, at least from my angle of doing a paid podcast. I'm not talking about YouTube. People are better at me than this YouTube stuff. But when I make my money doing that and I hear people say things that are so inaccurate, then I try to help. And sometimes when I try to help, I come off like a jerk off. And I don't mean to. But the reality is know what you're talking about. Because if you don't, and you say something egregious that's totally wrong, I will correct you. And I'm not doing it to be a prick. I'm trying to correct you to teach you that you have to know what you're talking about. Because all of you beautiful people that are in here right now will call me on it. They'll call me on it. And that's the thing. If you don't know, listen, if I don't know something, guys, I'll tell you straight up 100%, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. Or if it's just my opinion, not rooted in a fact, I'll say, well, it's my opinion and I'm basing it kind of on one or two things. But I always say, but I don't have the paperwork to prove it. There's nothing wrong in saying you don't know. There's nothing wrong in giving a hypothesis that doesn't have like 30 fucking factual things behind it. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, when you say something as egregious as some of these other people have said, specifically Jeff Nadeau, when they've said things that are completely egregious, and it's like, where are you coming up with that? Like, that's not true. And the thing is they know it's not true. And they're doing it to bait other people. And that's what I have a problem with. That's what I have a problem with. You know? So, for those that do listen to the paid podcast, because I've gone over time today, for those that are a member of the paid podcast, we are not going to do a show this Friday. Okay? We will be back next Friday. And in between now and next Friday, we'll do another live. And starting our next live, I'm going to be dropping the link. We're going to let all of you come on. All of you. Even the wrenches. Carlos, Donnie, everybody. Whoever wants to come on and have a conversation, we'll have it. But I really wanted to sort of set a precedent of what I expect my wrenches to do and how I expect the people that come to my show. I expect them to behave. And that's it. That's it. So, Pete the Killer, Little Miss see, I did it again. Miss can't be wrong. Little Miss can't be wrong. What's real? Andrew, Jesse. I mean, there's so many of you in here. Carol, thank you. Cousin Paulie, Andrew, Gerard. Let's see, Rayism, Chardonnay, Tess, everybody who came tonight. Thank you very much. Carlos, thank you very much. Big Lou, 5.56 Media. We will be back probably, what is today? Thursday, probably like on Tuesday, we'll do a live. And we're gonna let all you guys come on and say whatever you want. We'll have a good conversation. We'll get 4 or 5, 6, 7 people at a time in the room, and we'll just talk. We'll talk about any mafia thing that you want. Jeff, the subject matter expert of the life. Yeah, that's all it is. listen, listen. I couldn't spew facts to you all day long about things because there's certain things I'm better at knowing than other things. But I can give you the perspective of politics on the street better than anybody, and there's a reason for that. And it doesn't really matter what everybody thinks about me and what they think I know and what I don't know. The difference is that I'm the only one that knows things, and I'm the only one that keeps bringing out things. And that's the thing. I talk about certain things that are what do you call it? Current, and listen, and this is the last thing I'm saying. How many of these other people talk about the Philadelphia indictment, talk about the Colombo indictment, talk about the Miskey indictment? They don't. And listen, it's not like I'm holding the fucking fountain of youth over here. Like it's only for me only. Anybody can do it, but they don't. Everybody just keeps regurgitating stories that everybody else talks about. That's not what I do. And so at the end of the day, and I say this all the time, I will always defend my friends till I got no breath in me. And then at that point, the ghost is going to come in and take over. And he's not going to be nearly as friendly as me. That's the way I see things. I love my friends. I'll do anything for them, especially them guys in South Philly. Do anything for them. And they know it. I've earned that right to call them my friend. So have a good night, everybody. I don't know who's coming on now. Fatball Sicilian may be back on. I don't know who else is on. Could be Mob Rats Exposed is on. I'm not really sure. But in the meantime, no show this Friday, but we will come back on Tuesday. And then the following Friday, what the hell? I'll give you a double episode over on the paid podcast. So thank you all of my wrenches. Chardonnay, you're a great friend. I'll do anything for you too. If you have any problems, you let me know and I'll take care of it. But in the meantime, we will see everybody on Tuesday.